All right, Megan, do you have the phone? All right, show of hands, there's one nice lady came over and said she had something to read from one of her students. So show of hands, this is not a test. Teachers can talk too. I'm sorry, close to the mic, don't be like me.
I was asked by Mary Briggs, who is trustee in Clarendon Township, to read reflections from her. No matter how old I get, nor the relationship that I have developed with an individual teacher, even long after I am removed from their jurisdiction, I have always referred to them and thought of them in a formal manner. Too bad she wasn't here to shout. That's my aside. Miss Sukle was one of the art teachers at West Geauga Junior High School during my years of attendance, fall of 1971 through spring of 1974. While the West Geauga school system has many fine teachers and staff, there were only a handful of teachers and staff that stand out in my mind and, unbeknownst to them, had a substantial influence and impact on my life, most of them being a positive impact. While it was of no extraordinary act on her part, Miss Sukle did indeed make a profound and positive impact on my life. Miss Sukle was a fine artist, a good teacher, and usually patient with her students. Her classroom was the last room at the end of the hall on the southwest corner of the junior high school. In 7th grade, a student could only take art for one semester. I was assigned to her art class in the 2nd semester of that grade. My home life and ongoing events in my personal life were less than idyllic in those days, and one did not talk about or tell. Problems were then internalized. While I rarely wrote about any of these things, there was an occasion in 7th grade that I wrote a story about events of a particularly disturbing event that had taken place in my life. I wrote a cover page to this story, asking her to read and return it to me, that I did not want it shared nor discussed with others. I also said I just wanted her to be aware of these things, but I did not want to talk about it. I remember folding up the pages of my story in fourths and handing it to her with no explanations as she walked down the hallway with another teacher. She later returned the story to me, and to my knowledge, honored all of my requests. That act, that simple act of being able to reach out to an adult, one that I respected, even not knowing if I could trust her, I still took the risk. Now someone else at least knew. There is innate value in that. In 8th grade, I took art classes for the entire year. She allowed me to attend a 9th grade art class instead of being in study hall and do assignments for both. I recall that each spring she would become very dark. She would work on a large painting that she kept covered. I asked her about this in the 1990s, and she shared that I was correct and the reasons for this. At some point, she became a high school art teacher, and while I was not attending West G, I continued to visit her in the late 70s and early 80s. In the 90s, we had occasion to have dinner a couple of times and attend a musical performance. Miss Sukle was consistent. She was non-judgmental in a personal way, not so as an art critic. As a youth, I had found an adult that I trusted, though she was not a confidant, except for the story I had shared with her. By her mere presence in my life, it gave me grounding in a personal way. Wait a minute. One that was not available to me outside of school. She respected my non-conforming individualism. I have kept some of the pieces I did that were assigned by her. They are very telling of where I was at that time in my life. Self-portrait at age 80, and a surreal self-portrait at age 80. Ms. Sukle, I am so saddened by your death. I am grateful to have been one of your students. I am sure I am only one of the many students and people you impacted by your life. We have lost a fine impressionist, a capable teacher, and a consistent and compassionate friend. I am sorry I was unable to be here in person to honor Ms. Sukle. I appreciate the opportunity to share these reflections. Thank you, Mary A. Briggs.